Hi guys, and it's time for the first of our Wave 16 Attack Wing reviews, and I've got to say it's one that I wasn't expecting to be that thrilled with, but I am actually really excited by this one. It's the USS Dauntless, which was from the Season 4 Voyager episode Hope and Fear, which again is one of my favourite episodes of Voyager. So what we're going to do is look at the ship, and then we'll flick through the upgrades you're going to get with the pack and give you an idea of what you're getting here. So if we start with the model, as you can see, it is a pretty blocky paint scheme, so we've got quite a lot of blocking out on the lifeboat hatches that we've got there, and also it's it's pretty much grey all over. There isn't a lot of detail on the nacelles. The paint is a lot more exact in its application than it has been on a lot of the other ones. The quantum slipstream drive, so we'll just take this off the stand just to show you this. The quantum slipstream drive, which sits just underneath the ship itself, is just a big strip of blue. There you go. But again, it is actually painted on pretty accurately, so there's none of that horrible bleed or just really bad workmanship that you've had on quite a few other ones. It's just a very two-tone scheme of basically battleship grey and yellow with the fleck of red in there and blue as well. As a model, it's all right. I mean, it's not going to rival the one that we got from Eagle Moss probably over a year ago now. But for the game, it's as good as you're going to get. Just pop it back onto the stand. For once as well, it is a pretty tight fit, as you can tell from how I'm struggling to get it on. And it is also straight when you get it on the stand, which is really nice. So, just take a quick look at the stats before we move into the cards. This ship, as all three of the ships from the 16th wave we've got, they all only have a forward firing arc. So we've got a ship which is a Ferengi, and we've got the Pasteur, which is a Mirror Universe ship, but I feel it should have been a Federation ship as well. And all three of those ships have only got a forward firing arc. So here with the Dauntless, we've got a 2 for attack, a 2 for defence, a 4 for the hull, and a 5 for your shields. Your standard 4 actions, which you'll see on the stand as well. You've got your evade, your target lock, your scan, and your battle stations, and it's independent as indicated by the little yellow dot. So let's just move her out of the way. Do you get your standard little dial, which has a nice little picture of the Dauntless on one side and the Dauntless on the other, unsurprisingly. So this ship is pretty quick. As you can see, the top manoeuvre you've got on the dial with this one is actually a 5. And if we just refer over to the Dauntless card itself, there we go. As you can see, it is a pretty good ship to start with. So your ability on the named ship of the class, which is your unique one, each time you perform an action or use an ability on any of your tech upgrades, you place 1 mission token onto the ship card. During the roll attack dice step, you can spend up to 2 of these tokens to gain 1 attack die for the attack for each token spent. So effectively, you can get a couple of extra dice on your attack. You can take this from a 2 up to a 4 if you play your cards right, quite literally. As you can see, also it's got 4 tech upgrades. There are no weapon upgrades with this one, and there are also no crew upgrades with this one, because if you remember from the episode, there was no crew on the Dauntless, and you've got a 26 SP. If you compare it to the class ship, the standard ship that you can change it into, you'll notice that you are losing 1 of your shields, you're losing 1 of your tech upgrades to take you down to 24 points. But we're not really bothered about looking at that generic ship. It is the Dauntless itself that we're really interested in here. Movement-wise, as we said, it is a pretty quick ship. You've got no rearward motions, but you do have an up to 5 on a forward motion, and only 2 of your manoeuvres are going to incur any auxiliary power tokens, which is your 3 manoeuvre to do a hard right or a hard left. So that's a hard right, that's a hard left. But you do have a series of green manoeuvres in your 2s and your 1s. So you've got no hard rights on your 1s, but you are going to get some out of 2 and 3, and then a good 4 and 5 forward manoeuvre, which would probably help you get out of trouble against some of those slower ships, particularly maybe if you're going up against something like the Klingons, who have only got, on general, a 4 forward manoeuvre. So let's skip on to look at your captains. So with the captains with the Dauntless, what you're getting is one option, which is Arturis, who was played by Ray Wise in the episode. So Arturis has a basic captain skill of 3, costs you 5 points for your independent faction. He can also give you an elite talent. Great thing with Arturus is if you put him onto a Dauntless class ship, so that can be either the Dauntless itself, USS Dauntless, or it can be the Dauntless independent starship, you do get to increase your captain's skill up to 8. So you're getting a lot more advantage, particularly when it comes to the combat phase of the game. His action as well, as you can see, you can target a ship at range 2 to 3, disable the captain card or up to 2 of the crew upgrades on that target ship, but you do get yourself an auxiliary power token, which means if you're looking at getting rid of that, you're probably going to want to either, well, you're going to be wanting to use one of your green manoeuvres, your 2 forward, or your 1 forward and your 1 45 right and left. It is a nice card, not necessarily something you would have to use on the Dauntless, but you are going to get most of your advantage from using it on the Dauntless itself. The one thing you can use, and this takes us into the tech upgrades, is that you can use something called auto navigation, which is this one. So auto navigation is a brand new feature into the game, and it's a feature that's exclusive to the Dauntless at the moment. Again, it keeps it very much in theme with the episode. So the Dauntless has got itself auto navigated itself on using the quantum slipstream drive about halfway through the episode. But what you have here is the opportunity to use this instead of using your captain card. So you can assign this as an additional tech upgrade effectively, and your captain skill becomes 2. So when you actually reveal a chosen maneuver, you can disable this card to change the maneuver to any green maneuver on your ship dial. So you can actually take a good look around at what everybody else is doing, and then you can always use a 1 or a 2 maneuver if you decide that it's actually going to be better to use that, because you never know, it may give you a better advantage in the game. Or thinking about it, if you are using a lower captain skill, it does mean that you are going to be the first one to, well, one of the first ones to move, unless you've got a generic captain. So it could be that you just change your mind and go somewhere else. You do get with this the little tokens. So you do get the auto navigation token. For Arturus as well, you get a 3 for him if you place him on another starship, and you do get the option to use an 8 as well if you do increase his captain skill up to that number, that +5, using the initial card. So I've really liked the captain option with Arturus there. But what is really nice is one of his elite actions. So he's got 2 elite actions that you can take from this pack. You have emergency shutdown and law. I'm actually going to look at this one first, which is emergency shutdown. So during the activation phase, you can move, you can discard this card to disregard your chosen maneuver and not move. It does mean that you lose your action, but it means effectively you don't have to go anywhere, and that may be an advantage that you want to spend a target like you've still got, or take or shoot something that's in the way, or it might give you a bit of a time to regroup because your opposing ship will overshoot. Looking at law, this is a cracking option. I'm really, really impressed with this one. It does cost you 5 points. Just to note that the emergency shutdown only costs you 3 as an elite talent. During the planning phase, after the ships choose their manoeuvres, you can discard the card, target a ship that is not within range 1 to 3, and change the ship's manoeuvre. It can't look at it and change the dial after you reset it. So you can pick the dial up off the table, change the dial, put it back, and then they've got to take that new manoeuvre. However, if it causes it to exit the play area or overlap another ship, the target ship gets to disregard that manoeuvre and not actually move itself. So it could actually end up backfiring on you, that it doesn't go anywhere and puts that ship into a better position. Not really good about playing against maybe a one-on-one tournament for this, because you're always going to be trying to get it within that range 1 to 3. But if you're playing something on a big fleet, it's going to give you the opportunity to regroup, take a ship that's maybe taking a lot of fire out of the way, and allow it to regenerate or to rebuild its shields using a fleet action or an action that is assigned to that ship. But I think it's a really, really cracking addition to the fleet, and one that I will certainly be using, because I've got to say, with this pack, it has started to make me think about using the independent faction a lot more than just using the standard federation, which I think everybody uses to kind of get them into the game. As we've said, there are quite a range of technical upgrades for the Dauntless. In fact, you've got a range of 6 if you include the auto navigation one. So what we're going to do is we'll look at them from point scoring upwards. So we'll take power distribution grid, and we also have navigational deflector. So as we can see here, the power distribution grid costs you 2. Tech upgrade, as we said, during the activation phase, before you move, you can discard the card to disregard your chosen maneuver and perform a hard right or hard left maneuver, but you have to treat them as a red maneuver. If you look back at the Dauntless maneuver card, the only maneuvers you can do is a hard right or a hard left at range 2 and 3. So if you do a 3-1, you're still going to incur that red. If you do a 2, you will incur a red this time, but that's probably a good price to pay if it's going to get you out of trouble, if it's going to help you regroup. Because I think what you do find with this one, looking at the stats, the attack and defense, you're going to be wanting to nip in, make an attack, and maybe come out and try and do another action. Navigational Deflector. When taking damage with this round, you can discard this card and cancel one of your damage results. If it's from a minefield or an obstacle, you can disable this card instead of discarding it, and you can roll defense dice against obstacles or minefields. There have been a few of these already rolling around. I think there's one on the Equinox from memory, and it's pretty decent. However, it's only going to cancel one of these damage results. Nice that it gives you the option that you can defend against obstacles and minefields, which you don't really get a chance to do anywhere else. So I can understand the 4-point total on this one, and one that you would probably want to use. Sadly, you can only use this one once during the game if it's against a ship, but if it's against obstacles and minefields, then you do get to disable it rather than get rid of it, so you can reuse it. So that's probably its better uses against those sort of standalone obstacles rather than within a battle situation. Next up, we have, which I realise I've done these completely in the wrong order, but anyway, we'll go with that. As we have Force Field, and also there's Particle Synthesis. So Force Fields are 3. If an enemy ship causes one of your upgrades to be disabled or discarded, you can disable the card to roll a defense dice, which is wonderful. If you roll the evade result, the targeted upgrade is not disabled or discarded. So you've got a chance to actually defend against somebody taking one of your ship benefit. So particularly with this one, you're looking at things like quantum slipstream drive, I would have thought, and probably that particle synthesis as well. Particle synthesis is great because it does allow you to repair your hull or your shields, and particularly in conjunction with one of the upgrades that we're going to come to in a second, I think it works really, really well. But as I say, with Force Field, you can only use it with the Dauntless class ship, and with Particle Synthesis, you can also only use that with a Dauntless class ship. But Particle Synthesis, given that 5 cost, does mean that it works really well with this one, which is your quantum slipstream drive. So if you reveal a movement of 5 or more for this one that costs you 6 SP, you can then discard the card, remove your ship from the play area, discard all your power tokens except the auxiliary power ones, and put it back into play, not within range 1 to 3 of any other ship. I imagine that if you've taken a lot of damage during the game, this one is going to come in a big benefit. You can then just skip out of the game at the beginning of the maneuver piece, and then use this action to basically rebuild your ship. If you've got a Dauntless class ship, it's going to be a perfect combination, and it does mean that you're going to get yourself out of trouble and get ready for another attack. But I think these are great cards. This is quite reminiscent of the one you've got with the Krenim time ship, where you're also able to move yourself out of the attack zone. So if you think about 2 of these ships that you're going to place within that fleet in your independent fleet, you've got the option with these 2, with this one and with the Krenim one, to actually get out of trouble, sort yourself out, regroup, and then come back into the fight maybe as a pairing. Final piece of the puzzle for the Dauntless is the mission. So I've actually done this one, and it's Revenge. It's based around the Hope and Fear episode, and in that you are able to basically chase an independent ship. It says you can use a Federation ship of up to the hull value of 4. I suspect you're going to be using Voyager. It does then limit you on what upgrades you can use, so you can't stick your transphasic torpedoes on there or anything. It'd be a really high upgrade, your ablative armour and things like that. And you've basically got to stop the independent ship from getting into Borg space with 2 of your crew upgrades, which you effectively disable on your main ship. A cracking little game. It is a very cat and mouse chase. You're going to need something fairly quick to catch the Dauntless because it is running at a 5, but I think it's something that is a really nice tester game, one that gets people into it. So there we go. That is the Dauntless. That is the first of the Wave 16 ships. If you've got any questions on it, drop us a line. If you have enjoyed the video, give us a thumbs up, and hopefully we will see you soon for the next ship in Wave 16.
Transfer complete.